Great song.
Great song. Great band.
I saw them twice in concert in the 80s.
Yeah. Great band. Are you sure you're not English?
That's London Calling with The Clash. And this is Lee Enox for KNTU Radio with my good buddy from London, but living in Florida, Graham Downing. Welcome back to the show, Graham.
Thank you, Lee. Great to be with you. Good to see you, my friend.
Wow, you too, my friend. I love to be in Florida this year when good fishing down there. I went down there 2020.
Okay.
Did a lot of fishing in Pensacola, Florida on the Gulf Coast. Amazing fishing down there. Love that. I got a lifelong goal to see you again, my friend, in Florida and go down to the Florida Keys and do some fishing down there.
Well, you wouldn't want to be here today because there's really horrible storms coming over. So
yeah, definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah, it is thunder, lightning, pouring down with rain. It's like being back in London again.
So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I've had a secret love for the British people for most of my life. I'm not sure what the issue was, but as a kid, growing up in America, we only had like 3 national networks: NBC, CBS, and ABC. But then there were these like kind of bootleg channels from Canada, and they showed us a lot of because I lived near the Canadian border, so I saw a lot of. I got a chance to a lot of stuff: Benny Hill, Monty Python, all kind of British, like shows, Downton Abbey type kind of shows growing up as a kid. So I got a little bit of Doctor Who, Sherlock Holmes. So I've been exposed to British culture. And then in the late 70s, early 80s, I came in contact with the person and ideology of Margaret Thatcher, who became the Prime Minister of England. I remember, I think it was 1979, 1980, she became Prime Minister. And then all of a sudden, there's this Falkland War between England and Argentina. And I didn't know what was going on. I'm just a young kid in high school. I don't know what's going on. But for some reason, I took the side of Britain. I said, that's their territory. No one's taken it from them. And I was arguing for Britain in high school. I'm not sure I did a very good job at it, but I was a big fan. And then all of a sudden I saw these soccer hooligans in the 80s, absolute chaos. I'm probably sure you're in some of those videos I saw, like guys get rounded up and put in a pokey, Graham, were you just come clean to the American people? Were you a soccer hooligan in the 80s?
So I'm me, I'm a massive Chelsea fan. I have been since I was 5 years old. I used to go every single week to football or soccer, as you say. I never went there for the trouble, ever. I went there for the football, but there was so much trouble there. There was so much hooliganism going on there. You ended up getting caught up in it. When you're in a stadium, if you're outside, you're in the middle of it and you can't help but, be involved. And, sometimes when the police are going in and arresting people, they're just grabbing hold of anybody that are there at the time. So,
you got grabbed, you got thrown in the slam for a couple of weeks?
No, not for a couple of weeks, until the end of the game, and then they let you out.
Another big issue was the issue of Northern Ireland. And I still don't fully grasp everything, but I just remember U2, New Year's Day, and I just remember U2, like, I didn't know what was going on, but then, U2 had this song in New Year's Day, and it said something like, when Bono goes live, he says, "This is not a rebel song," and I didn't even know what that really was going on. And then I guess they called it the Troubles. It was like this massive dispute and some violence that was going on, like bombings in England. They almost killed the Queen or something. Something happened right in the 80s.
There was a lot of terrorism going on. The IRA, as the Irish Republican Army, it was they were basically against any, like the royal family and anybody that was British or English, or so what they did was to murder, like with terrorism, like bombs in London and other places across the UK, just trying to get their point across. But the terrorism, it was horrible to live through. And there were like many innocent, women and children and families and that got caught up in it, and they didn't care. They were bombing buses. They were bombing. There was an army barracks. There was one of the famous ones was the Grand Hotel in Brighton. That the Conservative Party had a conference there, and Maggie Thatcher was there, and they bombed the hotel. People died, a lot of people injured, took the whole front of the hotel off, and that was terrible. Yeah, so that was with the IRA, horrible times to live through. Yeah,
and I remember, well, obviously the British invasion of the Beatles. That was a little bit before my time. I was part of the second invasion. The Beatles and Rolling Stones. I saw the Kinks in concert. I saw
great band. Mm-hmm.
I saw the Who in concert. Mm-hmm. I saw, trying to see what that one band was. What was that one? Oh, Stray Cats. Weren't they from England?
Stray Cats were American.
Okay, I just remember seeing a lot of British bands and stuff like that. A lot of punk. I remember the Sex Pistols.
That's my band.
Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of stuff going on. I remember one time I saw some of the most famous bands like the Dead Kennedys and some of those huge bands, punk rock bands from the 80s. And some kid was wearing a punk rock T-shirt from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't believe that I had saw these bands like DOA, these bands in concert live. Mm-hmm. There was another what were some more famous bands in the 80s? I'm thinking of a band I saw it was Sex Pistols.
Was it a punk band? It could have been the Clash.
Yeah, punk band. I saw the Clash.
Could have been the Clash.
No, maybe somebody else. There was another band. Oh, Black Flag.
No.
They're a huge band here in the United States. But I was all caught up in that. And, I would rush home to watch these British, new wave bands, UB40, Duran Duran. I saw Adam and the Ants live in concert. All these bands,
good times.
Yeah, those kind of things. And so I had a love. But I also remember reading about Winston Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
And, him standing alone pretty much, even before America got involved in the war. And he said, Hitler threatened England and said, give up and you guys will basically be our slaves, but we'll treat you well. Mm-hmm. And Winston Churchill said, absolutely not. We'll fight you on the beaches. We'll fight you in the sea. We'll fight you by land. We'll fight you by the air. We're not giving up. And then, there's some people that are historical revisionists out there that say that actually the chief villain of World War II was Winston Churchill, because he should have just capitulated to the Nazis and he prolonged the war. And just a bunch of idiocy. And I looked into it and I said, no, I'm with Winston Churchill. And so I've had a tremendous love for the British people. And when I met Graham at a job, about 4 or 5 years ago. We became instant friends, like we were long lost friends, right? That we had, only an ocean between us, and immediately hit it off with him. I learned very quickly not to side with Argentina in anything. I never saw somebody trying to rip somebody's throat out when I introduced this guy from Argentina to Graham. That he's usually a great salesperson, but man, it was it was a little harsh time there for a second, between you and that guy from Argentina. But that's neither
Not a
here
good
nor
idea. Not one of your finest moments, Lee.
No, one of my finest moments is when I try to introduce Graham to eating Cajun cuisine at this restaurant, and I've never seen somebody violently reject food as he did when he had some crayfish. He goes, "This is absolutely disgusting," But I love you, Graham. I appreciate you, man. And
we've
so,
had
Graham,
some fun.
Let's get into some things. A
Sure.
big issue was when I was growing up. I learned about Enoch Powell because my last name is Enochs, and I learned somehow about Enoch Powell. So Enoch Powell said in the late '60s he warned about unbridled immigration into the United Kingdom, how it would destroy the cultural heritage. And everything he had said has come to pass. Just like he said, basically the United Kingdom, with its super woke, far left policies, have essentially destroyed that country in many ways, in that unfiltered immigration has brought many people, and unfortunately from countries that I won't mention, that don't love the United Kingdom, don't want to assimilate into the country, have nothing but the worst intentions for the United Kingdom. And there are areas that are almost unidentifiable to the British people. And the economy is really bad there. They have all these social programs, like giving so much, we call it welfare here, but in
still
England,
called welfare, social welfare,
the dole, and
same thing.
Just tremendous decline in the United Kingdom. But not to mention that, but you have, like the current Prime Minister Starmer, super woke, against any conservative being able to express themselves. So conservatives are going to prison for expressing dissenting views to the Liberal Party. And what amazingly has happened is that a movement very similar to the MAGA movement, but in different ways, has arisen in England. A lot of it is at the tail end of the Brexit movement led by Nigel Farage, who is now the Reform Party UK leader. And they have done phenomenally well in England, phenomenally well. In this past week, and this is one reason why I had you on, Graham, is just the issue of the local elections. Now, I just read today that they won like tremendous amount of local seats and stuff in England. And it's almost on the verge of bringing down the Prime Minister of England. They're talking about him having to stand down.
Virtually,
Virtually stand down.
Virtually.
So let me, before I ask you a couple questions, Graham, about this, let's get into the Reform Party, okay? So the issue of the Reform Party in the UK, let's look into this real quick here. So the Reform Party is a right wing. I don't like even that term. Just a conservative party. This is
so the media, for some reason, much of the media in the UK is controlled by the government. It's very, very left wing. So if you are in opposition to the government in any way, if you disagree, then they call you far right. irrespective of whether you are or not, they call you far right. So, you know, they'll say this whole right wing thing. It's kind of gone a little bit too far. So I would probably more put people that are voting for the Reform Party to be more proud of their country. They want things done for the British people, and kind of centre, but leaning to the right more than the left. Is how I would put it. Certainly not like far right as it's being, you know, spoken about in all of the media.
Mischaracterized. But let me look at right now I'm looking at the Reform Party platform. It says on immigration, they want to limit legal immigration and immediately return small boat arrivals to France. Thousands upon thousands of people are coming on the boats to England illegally.
Yeah. There's been 200,000 so far coming across from France
this year.
Since they started coming across on boats. So it's like a couple of years or so. But there's been 200,000 or over 200,000.
I read that,
and it's illegal. They are undocumented. They throw their passports and papers overboard before they get here, and the lifeboats and the authorities bring, and they're mostly men. Probably 96% or so of them are of military fighting age men. So very, very few
Muslim
or children. All of them are. Yeah, all of them are from Muslim countries, Islamic countries.
No desire to assimilate into the country.
Well, they come in and they are all put up in either hotels. They're given money straight away. They're given mobile phones. They're given food. They're put up in, and it's not just like bad hotels. They're top hotels they're put in, and in towns and cities all across the country. And they're allowed to go out and about as they want, and it's causing a huge amount of problems.
So let me go over the platform real quick with you, Graham, before I ask you some questions. Okay, so they want to strictly limit legal immigration, absolutely end illegal immigration of any kind into the country.
I think what they want to do, I think what Farage's idea is, which I totally agree with, is that anybody is allowed into the country so long as they have got something to contribute to the country. They live how we live, don't expect to get like any benefits or anything given to them, straight away. They work, they support themselves. And if they do that and they want to, live how we live and mix in and fit in with people, that's absolutely fine. You're welcome. If there's doctors or engineers or things like that, or, that the country needs, fantastic. But that's not the case. That is just so not the case of the vast majority of people that are coming into the UK, both legally and illegally.
Let's take a step back. One before we really take a deep dive into the Reform Party UK. Let's talk about the traditional parties in the United Kingdom. Growing up as a fan of the United Kingdom, and I remember reading about and watching videos of the 1966 World Cup when England beat West Germany.
Yeah.
And they had a guy named Best, I think his name was Best.
No. George Best was Irish. So it's Bobby Moore was the captain of England.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The guy that scored the famous goals in that final was Jeff Hurst.
So I watched a lot of that,
Yeah.
It was against. So anyways, so I grew up and you had people like Winston Churchill, and we had Margaret Thatcher, conservatives, legitimate conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
And then, where I kind of got led astray was when you had your guy before Boris Johnson, um,
Cameron.
David Cameron.
David Cameron.
The guy was really moderate to liberal guy in reality. Great speaker.
Well, this is what was really the start of things. So you're right. There was always really two main parties. Very much the same kind of thing in the States. You've got Republicans and Democrats. The Republicans being on the right, Democrats being on the left. So in the UK, it's the Conservative Party that was on the right and the Labour Party that's on the left. And really, the way that it used to be, the Labour Party were for the working man, as they used to call it, and the Conservative Party were for the people that owned the businesses that the workers worked for. And it's
also
pretty much
elitist.
It was kind of elitist in the way, in a way, as the way that it used to be. But it kind of branched into sort of the people like more on the left were the ones that were more claiming benefits and not working very hard. They were always on strike, and the government, the country should pay for us and everything. And people on the right and the Conservatives were the ones that wanted to build businesses and, work hard and, not have all of the benefits. And, so that's kind of the way that I saw it when I was a lot younger. Then there was another party called the Liberal Democrats that were kind of in the middle. As things went on, and really from David Cameron's point of view, Maggie Thatcher was very much on the right of things. She wanted people to own their own homes. One of the big things that she did, all of the council houses, the houses that, that were state owned and people used to pay a rent for, to the councils and the government for their houses. She wanted people to own their own homes. So she sold off those council houses to people at a much, much, much reduced rate that they could buy their own homes. It's funny because one of my old school friends ended up, he always lived, he never got married, never moved away. He lived with his mum and dad, and eventually they died. He ended up with a house, but what he did is that he bought the house from the council, paid, I think it was around about £15,000 or £20,000 for it back in the 80s. Now, he has just sold that house about a year ago for £350,000. So he's made a lot of money from their, from that ideology of owning your own home, which he wouldn't have had if he'd have just carried on paying rent, because he would have never have owned it and never had that money.
Yeah, according to this, the UK Reform Party platform is also, you guys, the Reform Party wants to cut taxes by raising income tax threshold, eliminating inheritance tax.
They want smaller government and lower taxes. So the Reform Party have sort of gone back to the Conservatives of the Maggie Thatcher kind of era, but then they also they're very pro-Britain. They don't like being in Europe. You'll hear a lot about Brexit. The Brexit was all about leaving the European Union, in which there was an unelected body of people that you can't get rid of, deciding what your country can and can't do, and their laws override British laws. So if you had, for example, an illegal immigrant coming into the country and you want to deport him, the European Union would say, well, no, that's against there's a thing called the European Court of Human Rights, which Tony Blair signed up to all those years ago. And because of that, the European law says no, it's against their human rights. You've got to keep them there. You're not allowed to deport them, and you've got to look after them, which is not what most of the country, and is one of the things why people voted for Brexit. They wanted to leave that, and the country have their own laws, their own rules, be able
What's
to trade.
What's the status on Brexit now?
What's sorry?
What's the status on Brexit now? Is it still in flux?
17.5 million voted for Brexit, which was over half of the country. It was 51% of the vote went for Brexit. Unfortunately, David Cameron, that was in charge of the country at the time, didn't want to leave the European Union. He didn't want Brexit. So everybody from that point on, even though we voted for it, they did everything they could to stop it from happening. So most of the things that we voted for have never happened, and the country suffered for it. So
say that. Truthfully speaking, when I listen to Nigel Farage, and I don't know algorithms, something, I get a lot of videos every week from the Reform Party UK. They come into my box.
Yeah.
And I watch some of these. Now, all the speakers involved in it, but there's this one guy, I think his parents are from India. I don't know who the guy is. I think he's second in command.
Zia Youssef.
That guy's a good speaker, man. Wow.
Fantastic. He's a fantastic guy. He's a fantastic. See, this is one of the things that I really love about England. There is a family. I'm not sure where he's from, Zia Youssef. But his parents were immigrants. They didn't have anything. They came into the country. They worked really hard. He obviously is quite a well-educated guy, and he's ended up being a self-made multimillionaire. And he's contributed to the country. He is like everything that I feel that people should become and want to become in Great Britain. In England, the guy's terrific. He's got the right ideas. And he hates the fact that people are coming into the country and being given everything.
So here's another issue that's probably one of the most important issues for me as I look in on it. And this is what J.D. Vance was crying out against Europe about last year when he first got in there as the vice president, that there is a radical suppression of freedom of speech with Starmer and the Labour Party in England.
Yeah.
Suppression of all freedom of speech. And
there is no freedom. There is no freedom of speech in the UK,
and that's abomination to me.
Yeah, it's terrible. Now,
maximize freedom of speech. I've had people on both sides of the fence here. Matter of fact, I'm not sure if you knew this, but in a couple of months here, I've been invited to debate one of the country, if not the world's greatest scholars on the Shroud of Turin. And I'm going to treat him very respectfully and just kindly give my reasons why I don't believe in the Shroud of Turin. I have the ability, and I've had people on my show from all kind of different perspectives. I allow this to be a free speech zone, and my conservative credentials are very clear. I am a conservative in the tradition of Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. I think that's why we hit it off very well. Very much sympathetic with what's going on with Nigel Farage and the Reform Party UK, and I have nothing but hope that they can overthrow the tyranny that is going on there. The United Kingdom, most powerful nation on earth. There was a time where it's not. I'm going to sound like an American UK reform guy now, but you had this country, this powerful country that said the sun never sets on the British Empire. The scope and width and breadth of the English Empire reached around the world. I mean, I'm sitting in a country that once was a British colony. Okay. And then I think they allowed socialism to come in different forms. over the decades, and it whittled away this free market capitalism, and people became dependent upon the state. Now the state has an excessive reach into the lives of the people, the British people, to the point where they control them. And it needs to be a British revolution, not revolution against America, but revolution against their own. They got to do what we did. Like, they have to overthrow the tyranny of wokeism in the United Kingdom, or you guys will be destroyed. You guys may not be a nation in maybe 30, 40 years. It is so bad now.
But I think what has happened more recently, probably over the last sort of like 15 years or so, is that there has been a huge amount of people coming into the country from Islamic nations. And I'm not going to have a go at them. I know some really, really lovely Muslim people, and I've got some good friends that are Muslims, but there have been a lot of extremists that have been preaching terrorism, that have been allowed to stay in the country and to build mosques, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And now these people have got into positions of power. There are mayors and in different councils and things, and it's just got to the point where in a lot of areas of the UK, you walk down there and you wouldn't believe that you were in the UK. There's areas of London that you wouldn't believe that you were in London. Birmingham. There's spots like all over the country. And for some reason, the only thing that I can put my finger on it is that they, because they're given everything by the Labour Party that are in control at the moment, they're frightened of losing the vote of them, and there are a massive amount of Muslims over there that vote for Labour and have always voted for Labour, and now they've got their sort of like Muslim representatives in there. That's who they will vote for. They will vote for their own, and it's gone against the sort of wishes of British people, and it's getting uncomfortable. That's the only reason that I can see that the Labour Party have allowed it and keep on allowing it, is because they're frightened of losing the vote.
Is it possible, Graham, from your vantage point, that Nigel Farage could be the next Prime Minister of England?
Oh, he absolutely will be, 100%, without a doubt.
Well, without God is control, my friend. Look what happened to Trump. I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know whether you've seen like the news and you've seen what's happening with Starmer at the moment, but how that guy, that he's had. There's a thing in the Labour Party. If the Labour Party, the members, are not happy with the Prime Minister, they can vote him out and get somebody else in. They have to have a minimum of 81 people to be able to force a vote, and they pick somebody else to go in. Now, I think so far, there's almost 100 of the Labour MPs, members of Parliament, that have written and said, we don't want you, we want you to leave. We want somebody else. And Starmer at the moment is refusing to go. You said that they had those council elections. Labour were decimated. It is the biggest loss in British history. He is the most unpopular Prime Minister in British history.
Even more unpopular than Boris Johnson just a few years ago?
Oh, massively, massively unpopular. Hugely. He is the most unpopular in the whole of British history. It's crazy. And somehow he's clinging on to power. He won't leave. I don't think he's going to be Prime Minister for another week. I'd be absolutely amazed if he's in power. There'll be somebody else from the Labour Party.
So,
which is
your vantage point, what if it came down to it, and somehow miracles. Oh, and I wanted to say this. I know you're a lot more secular than I am, but another factor in the decline of England is the departure from Christianity.
I agree with you totally.
Massive departure of Christianity. This powerful Christian nation
Yep.
that sent missionaries all around the world, churches planted everywhere.
Yeah.
Seat of the English Reformation there in the UK. Liberalism, wokeism has destroyed that country and brought it to the very brink of decimation. And but is it possible? Well, you're saying it's possible that Nigel Farage could become the next Prime Minister of England. And what would he do? What would be the? I know you can't speak for him, but let's say day one, like when Trump got in there, day one he's making all these things. What? Obviously, probably day one he's going to stop illegal immigration. He's going to go full metal Trump, and just
it has to. It has to. It has to stop the illegal. It's not. See, it's not just the financial cost on the country. There's been a huge amount of murders, rapes. Women are not safe to walk the streets.
Just running around in London, right?
All over the country. All over the country.
I'm not sure if I told you this, but I got a chance to go to England a number of years ago. When I was there, people said, "You look British until you open your mouth."
Yeah.
They said, "You're from California, aren't you?" Some girls in England told me, "You very much look Irish or British until you open your mouth." They said,
"You do look Irish."
That's what they said.
You do. Yeah, you do look Irish.
Some kind of European. Because when I was there, people would come up to me and start speaking to me in different, Dutch or Czech, because they thought I was, I guess I have that look. I could fit in Europe. My whole life, people said that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but what I've thought, this is what I have thought. I'm just gonna say this, and I don't really get emotional on the show, but I think of all the British moms and dads, the United Kingdom, that worked hard, that put their kids through college, guys like you that want the best for their children in the United Kingdom, and for it to be just overrun by this heinous horde of people from other countries that have no business being in the nation, being in the country, raping, killing, pillaging, abomination that I hope to God. I believe in the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ. The grace of God could spare England, not because you guys deserve it, but because God, through Jesus Christ, may have mercy upon your nation and spare you guys the Islamic overthrow and woke overthrow that brings you to the very needs of destruction in the United Kingdom.
Well, Christianity is making a comeback, and I think the reason is because there's Islam is being forced on the country. It's being forced on kids in schools. They're being taught about the Quran and things, and the food they're having, halal meat. It's just not. It's not the English way. If I don't have a problem with people, if that's the way that they want to live, that's absolutely fine. But go and live in a country that they do that. Don't go to another country and try and change it to the way that you want to live. And this is what's happening over there. So it's so it's kind of being rammed down your throat in a way. like the Islamic stuff, Sharia law, and there are certain like lots of towns that have got their own Sharia law. It's ridiculous. It should be one law. It should be English law. That's like the English country. You want to live there. You want to come and live there. You abide by our laws. You abide by our rules. You're welcome. But you live how we live.
The
And
Magna
don't.
Carta, the very staple of Western legal
Yeah, very, very, yeah,
freedom, was created in England.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you know what? I want to say to you, there is this thing that's called nuclear. No, what it's called? It's called demographic winter.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of this concept? It's called democratic. I mean,
I've heard of it. Yeah.
it's called demographic winter. And what they
Mm-hmm.
mean by that in Europe, the average family now in Western Europe has less than one child per family.
Mm-hmm.
You have issues of right to life issues that are that just a sweeping uh, situation of abortion. Women are not having children in the European countries. So now you have families coming from different countries, many illegally coming into the country, that have an average of 7 or 8 children per family. And so what's going on is that they're going to 2050 or something like that, just by sheer population, they're going to overthrow the whole entire Western European system, including England, because they'll have more by population.
What do you think is the number one most popular name for new boys?
Muhammad.
Yep, got it in one.
That's right. You've shared that with me about 5 times, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the thing, Grant. I'm going to give you the last word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We won't get into this. I want to tell you, I pray for you. I love you like a brother. I know you've had some health issues. My prayers are with you, my friend.
Thank you.
I look back at the time we worked together, some great times. Okay. We worked in this place, and Graham taught me how to do a lot of sales, and we were like kind of running that place. People were afraid of us. They couldn't really they didn't know how to really handle us because they didn't agree with our politics, but we were outselling every department. We were just exploding in sales. And basically they said, we're just going to leave those guys alone over there in the men's suit department, over at this one store we worked at. But Graham, I'm going to give you the final word.
Yeah.
Is there any hope for the United Kingdom? Can it turn itself around? Can it be done, or is it done? Is England over?
No, it's not. No, it's not. I think I hope and I believe that this very dangerous Labour Party, this very dangerous far left. The Labour Party are not the Labour Party of old. They've gone way far left, ridiculously, and their ideology needs to be stopped. Otherwise, there won't be an England, for very much longer. But I think that's going to change. I think the British Lion has been awoken after sleeping.
So. Maybe you guys can win a World Cup in the future, right? Hey, say what you got about Tom Cruise. He loves England.
Oh, England loves Tom Cruise. Do you know that's Brits? We love America. We absolutely love America. We always have done. Yeah, we always, and this like the stuff with, going into battle together. The vast majority of the country are, alongside America every single step of the way. It's just the people that are in charge of the country at the moment don't believe that.
So, Graham,
that's the dangerous thing.
You got children, grandchildren. You got people out there in England.
I've got 4 kids. I've got one granddaughter, and I've got another one on the way. But one of my girls she's expecting that I've just learned last week. So I don't know whether it's a boy or a girl yet. But
I met one of your
that's great.
daughters. Well, one of your daughters came, right? I talked to her.
You met my eldest daughter, yeah. She came over as a surprise when we were in the store.
Yeah, and I remember that.
So it's
Tell
my
me,
eldest daughter, yeah. Mm-hmm.
all your people out there, and you can give this out to them.
I'm sorry?
Tell them, what hope does the United Kingdom have? There's some rough things, high taxes, the economy is bad. Can it turn itself around? Is there any hope for the United Kingdom and your friends and families? What can their hope be?
Well, my favorite prime minister of my favorite times of when I was growing up, when everything was great, everybody was doing well, was when Margaret Thatcher was in charge of the country and when Ronald Reagan was in president over here. And there wasn't ever any problems growing up. Things were really good. Everybody was happy. Everybody was making money. Everything was great. And that hasn't been the case since then. I see in the Reform Party and people like Farage is that they are going back to those times. They have those ideas. They're business people. They know how to run things, and the people that are all in with them. And there are people from both the Labour Party and the Conservative Party that have the same beliefs that have left Labour and the Conservatives and joined in Reform, because they want what's best for the country and what's best for them. So I think that once they get in, and I don't think it will be too long, there may even be an early election. The Labour Party are supposed to be in there for another three years or so. I think it's going to be sooner than that.
Well, I hope the whole
I think it's going to be sooner than that.
The whole false facade of wokeism that is destroying your country will come to an end.
People have put up with it for a long time, and it's beginning to change, and people are beginning to say no more. So I think that things are going to turn themselves around, and get back to the way that things should be.
As the Beatles once said, the British band, the Beatles, get back to where you once belonged.
Exactly. One of the things now, can you imagine being in the United States and being told that you can't fly the Stars and Stripes because other people are offended?
Millions of people would do anyways. Millions of people would just go out in the street and fly. But yeah, the very day they tell us we couldn't do it, we'd be out there doing it. Remember?
So that is now what is beginning to happen back in the UK, because for so long now, the England flag, which is the cross of St. George, is a red cross on a white background. You fly that, then you're told that you're a racist. You're right wing, you're far right, you're a racist. Nothing of the sort. It's England's flag. The Union Jack or the Union flag is England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. It's like the united together. There is a huge uprising of people that are patriotic, and that's we're just saying like no more. So things are looking good. Have a look what happens on Saturday in London.
I know I heard about the big Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, but it's not just about Tommy Robinson. It's a thing called Unite the Kingdom, and it's people that are fed up. It's not just about Tommy. He's just organised it, but it's gone way bigger than Tommy Robinson now. It's gone about people that are proud of Britain, and they're taken to the streets, and there's going to be 2-3 million people or more going out on the streets of London on Saturday. It's going to be incredible.
As your American friend and your brother, I've only known you now 5 or 6 years, but I want to tell you I love you. It's like I've known you my whole life, my friend.
Yeah, it's like we're brothers.
And I want to tell you something, my brother from a British mother. I love your country. I love everything about England, true England, your heritage, your culture. I'm not talking about these foreign elements that are coming into the country. I'm talking about Britain, the United Kingdom. I love the heritage, the culture, have a very strong love for the Anglican Church, as you know.
Yeah.
I wish nothing but the best, and I pray for the return of England
Yeah.
to the Lord Jesus Christ, who died and rose again for our sins, and by faith in Him, we can have the gift of eternal life. Graham, you're highly
Lee,
welcome here anytime.
Just quickly, I feel exactly the same way about America as you do about England. Exactly the same.
Place now, my friend. Hey, those days when you were growing up as a kid, where you're in the snow in London and stuff, those days are over. You're down there in Florida, my friend.
Yeah, I love it here. But I don't mind where I go. I've lived in Texas, I've lived in Florida. I've been all across the states, like in my lifetime. There's not many places across the state. I love the whole place. I think it's a fantastic country, and I feel it feels like home to me.
A couple of years ago, you went back to England, right?
Yeah, just to see my granddaughter, because I hadn't met her, and my one of my girls got married too, so I went back there for the wedding, and then I went back in September to see my granddaughter. Yeah.
So what do you want to say, last word, to your children that may watch this video? What do you want to say to your beloved children?
Oh my God, they know how much I love them. We speak to them all the time, or I speak to them all the time. I'm very proud of them. I'm proud of the young adults that they've become. I miss them like crazy, and I will be seeing them very, very soon.
Well, I'll tell you this. If my ship comes in, my friend, on my dime, I will take you back to England, and we'll go all over that place. I want to visit some of the older castles.
I'll show you around.
Yeah. All right, brother. Hey, I love you, man. My blessings upon you. Say hello to your wife, Kim.
Yes, I will.
And I'll be in touch with you, my friend. Stay healthy, get better. We'll talk to you soon, my friend. Have a great night.
I love your show. I watch you a lot. Well done. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. Have a great night, okay?
All right. All the best. Always good fun.